So this was the last possession of my first game in 2K19 online. I get blocked in the corner on Jay Crowder's shot. I'm looking at the score, and then I say to myself, I could go all out to come back here, or I could just reassess some things and try again another day. So that's what I do. Now, how did we get to that point? Well, I think the process of getting to that point taught me some things about 2K19, things that, for the most part, I do like, I just simply was not ready for. I would say that where I went wrong in this game was mainly my fault, not the game's fault, other than maybe one particular play where I just got a little unlucky. Now, before we get to the mistakes that made me lose this game, I think the beginning of the game went all right enough. That shot with Derek Favors wasn't a bad one, even if he's not the best mid-range shooter in the world. But this play here is foreshadowing some of the problems I had. I ran a lot of plays for Donovan Mitchell to get three-point shots. He's an okay three-point shooter. He's not the best. Probably not good enough to run three-point plays for consistently. Another time here, I elect to shoot a three ball with Joe Ingles rather than attack the basket a little bit more. Maybe threes are simply not going to go in as much in this game. Maybe I just need to figure out some releases more. Whatever it may be, that was not a success for me in this game. I think if I do use the Jazz again, and I do kind of want to use them because I like their versatility and I like Gobert and all that, I might not even play Rubio. I might just go with Mitchell at point guard, which would allow me to get some shooters around Mitchell and all that. But another problem I had was navigating the pick and rolls. You see there that I had a moment where I could have bursted into the paint with Mitchell and I didn't. Now I bail myself out with a crossover, but initially you saw that Bradley Beal was off balance and I could have attacked it, but I didn't because I respect the defense in 2K19 maybe a little too much, where I'm sometimes afraid to attack because I think I'm just going to get pushed off and waste about 5 or 6 seconds, when you have to be able to tell when you should go for it. Here, another mistake in the pick and roll should have been a pull-up jumper. The defense is definitely smarter in 2K19. They're going to dare you to do the thing you're not as good at, so they're going to give Donovan Mitchell that pull-up jumper. This play here, my opponent just chucks up a three with Kelly Oubre. I mean, Oubre, a below league average three-point shooter, hits a contested shot. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes things happen. I'm not too upset with that one, even if I was scratching my head a little bit. But here's another one of those Donovan Mitchell three-point plays where, the shot itself is good, but perhaps I would have been better off getting more plays with Mitchell going to the rim and probably having Jay Crowder playing power forward over Derek Favors for more spacing. So you got to know your personnel. Now, to go into the second quarter, it's still not a disaster. We're playing back and forth. I don't think my offense is going that well, but whatever, it's not horrible. Another contested three for Kelly Oubre. I'm just going to assume that my opponent knew exactly what he was doing with the Wizards, and he's got all these guys' releases memorized. That's what I'm going to go with. Another pick and roll mistake here, where I just keep on going to the rim, and it's one of those awkward situations where it's well, I'm here, so I have to do something, when in that situation I could have backed it out, or went for some sort of a pull-up jumper or maybe an alley-oop. I don't know. I'm not used to CPU defenses because my opponent wasn't taking control of the big on these pick and rolls, if you notice. I'm just not used to CPU big guys playing that good a defense. They didn't do that in 2K18, so a bit of an adjustment. Here we're seeing 2K19's defense on display until he bails me out with a foul. And at this point, you can tell my offense is kind of like I'm reaching at this point. I'm trying to find something. Finally, I just say screw it and go with a contested jumper myself, or that I thought was contested. It was wide open. This is one thing I will notice, is that 2K19 does a pretty good job of telling when there's space between the defender and the shooter. This was the play where I felt like I got kind of unlucky because, a loose ball leads to Austin Rivers wide open. A bit of an unlucky break, not the reason I lost, but it still sucked that it happened nonetheless, right? Although you could argue that the moment the ball was no longer in Austin Rivers' hand, I should have just gotten out of there as quickly as possible. It's going to lead into another pick and roll where I actually may have been able to go up for another three-pointer. This probably should have been a pull-up jumper, you go all the way to the rim, the spacing is bad because you had your center roll, and I just got to make that adjustment moving forward, you know? Also, more pick and pops with bigs who can actually shoot. One of the things with the Jazz is you are buying into Favors and Gobert. I think if I use these guys again, I'll start Crowder, and then I'll have Favors be my backup center just to have more spacing out there. For what it's worth, the posting up actually felt pretty okay. Both times I tried to get into the post with Favors, it was actually pretty successful. And then he just hits me with a move with Austin Rivers and he scores. So at this point, I was thinking, you know, if this doesn't start to go well, then yeah, could I go like balls to the wall, put my best lineup in, and really try my damnedest to get back into this? I could, but to put it bluntly, sometimes you just don't feel like it, and that was kind of where I was at. Should have shot that one with Ingles and didn't. It's nice that I can look back at all this now and realize my mistakes, because in the moment it's difficult to sometimes assess what you're doing wrong. So hopefully, moving forward in 2K19 on this Play Now series, which I guess this is a series, as John Wall just dunks on me, that I can do a little better in the future. So this is the last play. You're going to see the Jay Crowder block to start off this video, and then the eventual rage quit. But what better way to start off a Play Now series on this channel than with me rage quitting? Perhaps this could be used as the beginning, and eventually if I start winning, then that can be viewed as like the growth or something, I don't know. Anyway, shout out to my opponent, whatever his name was. And yeah, that's it. That's the first Play Now video on this channel. Did you expect it to go well?